name on everyone's lips is Andy Roddick. The American teenager has captivated the crowds with his power. His irrepressible intensity. The character of a young man groomed for success. And emotion that fills the stadium with contagious excitement. In his drive to the quarterfinals of the Tennis Masters Series Montreal, he's cut down Carlos Moya, former world #1, and Gustavo Kuerten. Today, Andy Roddick's journey of discovery continues live, next on ESPN. Montreal boasts a huge array of cultural and artistic activities, everyone. Sports also enjoys a deep tradition here. Tennis has become the thing to do in the summertime. Welcome to the Tennis Masters Series Montreal. Andy Roddick in our feature men's singles quarterfinal round takes on Andrei Pavel of Romania. They say that it's either very, very cold or very, very hot here in Montreal, and I can tell you it is not very, very cold. Welcome, everybody. I'm Cliff Drysdale. The very, very nice story here in Montreal has been the Andy Roddick story. I mean, think about Boris Becker, for example, the way that he burst onto the scene, or somebody like Jennifer Capriati, and this Roddick story is becoming every bit as compelling. But first of all, let's tell you about what happened last night to a man that is no longer a junior, very much a veteran, Patrick Rafter. He took on Todd Martin and beat him. Tonight he will take on Ferraro, the Spaniard, who's the #4 seed in the championship. That'll be our feature match on ESPN2. But let's take you back to Rafter and Martin last night. Rafter from Australia. This is the second time this year that he's played the Wimbledon final, and he is a hustler, make no mistake about it. Against him last night was the man from the USA who has always played Davis Cup when called upon, Todd Martin. But it was all Patrick Rafter from the beginning. Volleys like that after the spectacular serve of his, and he shows no signs of being disappointed by what happened to him in the final at Wimbledon against Goran Ivanisevic. Watch him play here. Call him the mosquito. That guy just never gives up, and he sure put a biting last night on Todd Martin. In straight sets, 6-4, 6-2. Patrick Rafter looking very solid for this championship in Montreal. There's the draw. We've got one American, we've got one Australian, the rest of them for the most part from Europe, and could be an Australian-American final. We will see. What do you think, Patrick? First of all, Patrick Rafter, you know, we haven't been saying a lot about him because this has been basically the A-Rod story from the beginning, but we should be talking about him, I think.
Well, I think we will be this weekend, and I think we'd all like to see that American-Australian final. Wouldn't that be nice? The young gun Rafter, or the old gun Rafter against the young one Andy Roddick, but Rafter has looked tremendous from the start of this tournament. He's been very sharp. I think he obviously still is disappointed about that loss over Ivanisevic. Who wouldn't be? It's his dream to win Wimbledon, but man, he's playing with a lot of intensity. He's enjoying the play that he is doing out there, and serving and volleying beautifully. He's going to be tough to beat all summer long, and he could be one of the guys going into the U.S. Open, the favorite to win, and maybe looking for his third.
Talking about the U.S. Open, you know, a year ago we were talking about Andy Roddick. He was playing the juniors at the U.S. Open. Now we're talking about him there being seeded, Patrick, or indeed winning the whole thing. How things have changed for Andy Roddick.
It's amazing when you think about it. In less than a year, he was getting prepared to play in the U.S. Open Juniors, and now Andy Roddick seriously could be one of the contenders, one of the favorites, maybe even going to the Open. Similar situation today for Andy Roddick, because he's playing against Andrei Pavel, the man he played down in Miami at the Ericsson after Andy Roddick had beaten Pete Sampras. A big win for him, of course, there. Here's Andrei Pavel, the Romanian. It was a tight first set. In fact, Roddick was way ahead in the first set against Pavel, let the Romanian back into it. And remember, it was Andre Agassi who came up and visited us and did some commentating, and then the rain delay went down and talked to Roddick, gave him some advice, told him to mix up his serve a little bit, and then Roddick went away with it in the second set, winning it easily. But Pavel's always a tough guy to beat. There you see Tariq, Roddick's coach, there enjoying it. And that was the first real big week for Andy Roddick on tour. And Pavel, he's always a guy, Cliff, that's tough to beat. He's been ranked between 20 and 50 pretty much his whole career, but now he's fitter. He's got some experience. He's 27, but certainly Roddick, if he plays anywhere near the way he's been playing, he should win this match pretty comfortably.
So the question is, can Andy Roddick continue this spectacular rise? He is the story of this year's Montreal event. He is intense, he's fiery, he's powerful, and he's live. Next on ESPN. has been an exciting week for Andy Roddick, and it's been an exciting week for us who are watching him mature as a tennis player. Andy Roddick taking on Andrei Pavel of Romania, as you mentioned, Patrick. They played earlier in Miami. That match won by Roddick, and there were a couple of interesting stories. Part of that, I remember it rained that day, for one thing, and there was a delay. And Roddick, and you talked about the Agassi story, and Agassi going down there, and Roddick and making some suggestions to him, which he seemed to take to heart. And here's how he has got here.
Got the Korean Lee easily. Then Moya had a nail biter there. Moya actually served for the match in the third, 7-5 in the third. And then Kirtan, very impressive display yesterday by Roddick after losing a tight first set. Really dominated Kirtan for those last 2 sets.
Kansas 0, 15 left.
Andrei Pavel, 27 now. He's gotten himself into better condition in the last couple of years, which is why his results have been a little more consistent. You can see he's 46 in the Champions race, 43 in the entry system. A couple good wins over Malisse, Clavet, and killed Arazi yesterday. Of course, Cliff Arazi had beaten Leighton Hewitt in a night match easily, and then Pavel just lost 2 games against a Moroccan yesterday.
Drawn to Kansas, 30-15.
Patrick, you were detailing those early round results from these 2 guys, and Roddick has had a tougher time.
30 over.
I mean, 18 years old. He says he's not even grown into his body properly yet. Is there an injury factor here, fatigue factor at all involved today?
I don't think so. I think Roddick is, you know, he plays a lot of quick points. Of course, with that big serve, he's been just sort of working actually with Walt Landers, who's a fitness expert who's worked with quite a few of the top players over the years. That's a good move for Andy. His coach, Tariq Benabile, is of course here with him, as he is every week. But I think that's a good move for Andy to concentrate on his fitness, you know, do a lot of stretching before, and it's good. It's a good habit for him to learn to get into at a young age.
It just seems that they're playing every day, you know, and the Grand Slams they play, at least they get a day off. Here is Andy Roddick on the pressures of being the future of American tennis.
I don't look at it as pressure. I look at it as opportunity. I mean, I have, you know, almost a whole country behind me, you know, pushing me, which is awesome. I mean, I couldn't ask for anything better. And, you know, we have some other players like James Blake, Taylor Dent's been playing some great tennis lately, Marty Fish. So, you know, I think we're good, looking good. I think it's good competition. I think we push each other. You know, if I see Taylor do a quarter, you know, semi, then I want to do it also. And I think it's vice versa. And I think that works to everybody's benefit.
I actually think that is absolutely true. I think that Sampras pushed Chang and Courier, Agassi, and the others pushed him.
Breakthrough year for some of the huge names in men's tennis and American tennis. Pretty select company there.
Trying to make those comparisons, Patrick. I mean, I think, you know, you can compare him to an Agassi in certain respects, but Becker is probably, to me, the best comparison with him, with his powerful game and the age at which he made his move.
Carol Deserve.
Like, people probably forget Becker was 17 when he won his first Wimbledon.
Incredible.
Pavel with a game point.
Oh, beautiful return there. Roddick, a short little backswing there, using the pace of the serve. Blocks it. This is something you could learn from that man, Andre Agassi, Cliff, how to take that return early, shorten the backswing, and Roddick's forehand is deadly. He gets that short ball. Well, you talked about it, Cliff, earlier in the week, that you love the power of Roddick, but it's the variety. It shows you some great variety in court sense in this point. First this one where he hit the little forehand volley, and then this flicker. Cross court, takes the pace off of it.
40-30.
Oh, that's Pavel's favorite shot right there, that big backhand up the line.
Lovely balance on that backhand of his, and here's another look.
He has one of the most beautiful one-handers in the game, Andre Pavel. A great extension on the ball, beautiful timing. It's something that Roddick has to look for today. You know, Cliff, I know you didn't grow up in America, but now that you're a blue-blooded American citizen now, you have a saying about baseball players. When they're great baseball players, they call them a five-tool player. They can do everything.
Right.
I think that we should come up with that for Roddick. He's a five-tool tennis, but he can do it all. Power, finesse, character, intensity, movement. Is that 5?
Yep. I'll go with that.
Jans part 2, 15-0.
I've only been here 30 years, Patrick, and you're still trying to teach me the ways of America, but I appreciate it.
You knew that, right, about baseball, the five-tool player?
Doesn't everybody?
Cannot lie on national television.
15-30.
Good hitting from Pavel here, putting some pressure on Roddick.
A lot of pressure as he's got break points. And remember, yesterday playing against the top seed here, Andy Roddick was not in any kind of trouble in his serve game for 2 sets.
That's what he did when he did get in trouble in that 3rd set, Cliff. Fire a couple of huge bombs.
Strong to Carroll.
220 kilometers.
Still break point. Break. Racket goes down from Andy Roddick. The breaker serve goes to Andre Pavel, the Romanian, 2-1. With the break, he leads in the 1st set. We're live, Montreal. Andre Pavel, the Romanian's got the break, 2-1 1st set against Andy Roddick. Pavel says that at 14 years old you have to make a decision whether to stay at school or concentrate on tennis in Romania, and he was lucky at that time that the politics changed from the communists to a free country so that he could leave the country and start playing on the tour. So he was 16 years old when he went to Germany without his parents, and he said it was tough, tough, tough.
tougher, Cliff. Pavel in the rankings.
Hands
Working
part
his
2,
way up,
15 all.
steady progress. Finished at 27 last year, now 46 in the Champions race.
Couldn't get help financially from Romania, he said, and he found some sponsors in Germany, which is why he went there.
Roddick's going to have to adjust because Pavel's game plan looks to me, Cliff, is to hit the ball,
30,
relatively speaking, right down the middle. Not give Roddick any angle, hitting good depth, but not really doing too much, and he's serving well also. There's another one right down the middle. Probably why Pavel has been better served, Cliff, playing down the middle. Ready to open up the court there. Roddick started to get into the groove, moving him around. Finally the error, the best point of the match for Roddick so far.
Take the angle away from a guy if you hit just down the middle, don't you?
Also make him create something.
30 all.
Pavel knows that he's probably not going to be able to out-hit Roddick, and especially out-hit him and move with movement. And keep the points fairly straightforward and obviously serve well. He's won a couple cheap points with his serve. He's got a shot in this match.
That's called a false second serve here at game point for Pavel. Pavel holds on. Now let's take a look at the backhand side here. Pavel, you were talking about it is so good. Let it roll, guys. You see, he takes it back here with a very nice full shoulder rotation. Let's freeze it right about there. Now you can see how he is sideways on. The full coil is there. His eyes on the ball. Now let it roll forward into it, guys. He goes, lets the racket head drop, goes through it, and now the arms separate there, don't they? That's very nice. Good balance on that. That's the difference between the two and the one-handed shot. And now his upper body is open, but you know, as he makes contact with the ball, it stays closed. Really important lesson there for one-handed backhand players, and that is not to uncoil into it too soon. He's textbook, actually.
Yeah, it really is a beautiful shot.
Love 15.
Roddick struggled with his serve the other day against Moya, Cliff, and we saw that matchup. He had 14 or 15 double faults. We said he was going to have to improve that against Kierton. He did. He served great. Didn't even hit any double faults, I think, until midway through the third set.
Right.
Only ended up serving a couple for the match. Got 2 already today, though. Something that Coach Tariq there in the red hat, that's Walt Landers now, the fitness guru, working with Andy. Over the years, Walt has spent time with Kafelnikov, with Agassi, with Sampras. Yep.
Pavel's got his own man here, his physical coach, Gavrila Ayunut.
40-15.
Hope I'm pronouncing that correctly.
Good luck on that. Big bomb.
Solid game from Roddick of the USA. 2 games to 3 in the first set. We are live in Montreal, everyone. Andy Roddick yesterday in a tremendous performance. I mean, Roddick came out firing from the beginning. He went down in the first set in the tiebreak against Gustavo Kierton, the Brazilian. And then in the second 2 sets, Patrick, it was all Andy Roddick.
It really was, and he came to net beautifully. Some tremendous drop volleys. This actually was a point that cost him in the tiebreak. Good for the highlight reel. In fact, every sports show I watched last night, they showed that. Of course, they didn't say that really cost Roddick the set. But Roddick picked up his game, served bombs, attacked well, and Kierton really got frustrated, Cliff, especially in that third set. He sort of lost it a little bit mentally.
He got a couple of what he thought were bad calls. 4, in fact, he said.
6-4 in the second, and then it was all Roddick in the third as Kierten really went out meekly. Roddick with another win over a world #1, or former world #1.
15 love Pavel here.
Kierten, of course, #1 in the entry system at the moment, just behind Agassi in the race for points this year.
Cans part 2, 15-0.
Pavel just glancing up into the sun there, so it's obviously going to affect his serve at this time of day.
Yeah, and that side it's difficult at this time.
Drawn to Cans.
Mixing up the serve well, though, Pavel.
Roddick has got a very good record against top players in the world.
He's got a good record against everybody. Lost to Agassi. Beat Rios and Sampras. Those were both at the Ericsson. Safin he lost to last week in LA in the first round. Moy and Kierten so far this week. Lost to Agassi, I think it was last year at the Ericsson, right? A year and a half ago. Another unforced error from Roddick.
40-50.
A little impatience from the youngster.
Game points here for Pavel. Pavel retired last week with a back injury in Kitzbühel on clay against Galo Blanco. But he seems to be just fine so far.
Lost a set in the opening round, did Pavel, against Malisse, but won his next 2 in straights over Clevet and Arazi.
Pavel. Patrick Rafter tonight and Juan Carlos Ferreira, the number 4 seed. Pavel on ESPN 2 at midnight Eastern time. Patrick Rafter, one of tennis's truly charismatic stars, who says this may be his last year. Juan Carlos Ferreira, the Mosquito from Spain, who says that he would love to become #1 in the world, and that's his goal.
He's getting closer and closer every year, Ferreira, and playing pretty well on the hard courts. Win over Gamble yesterday for Ferreira. Roddick with the serve, 235 kilometers per hour. 141, Cliff, miles per hour there.
Yeah, Patrick, I'm not sure I buy this calibration here.
What's your problem?
Well, I just don't think this is properly calibrated. Remember when Ruzetsky had that calibration thing at Indian Wells 3 or 4 years ago, and they keep saying that he had 147, whatever they say. We all knew at that point it wasn't properly calibrated, and I think we've got the same story here, to be honest. Actually, Greg Sharker at ATP Tour said that he thinks he's the one who told me that.
You're listening to what Sharko says? No, I'm just kidding, Craig.
Good point.
He gives us all our tidbits of info. We need you, Sharko.
What are ad-libs?
40-50.
Game point here for Roddick. He's down a break, 2-4.
Pavel playing a very experienced match, very clean. Roddick struggling when Pavel gets the ball back in play. Only 3 errors so far for the Romanian, 9 for Roddick.
Left. Premier service.
This is where, if you're Roddick, you just have to take your time, go for the big serve, but once you get in the point, slow down a little bit. Oh yes, Pavel with the backhand up the line.
You're watching live coverage from Montreal of the Tennis Masters Series in Montreal, everyone. It's Roddick and Pavel. This is 4-2 for Pavel. Roddick serving. Game point, Roddick. And that ace gives Roddick the game. The players will change ends with Pavel leading 4-3. He will, that Pavel will, serve when we come back to our continuing live coverage. Andrei Pavel to serve, leading 4-3 against Andy Roddick in '96. Pavel had an operation on his arm, which he said took 9 months to recover from. I had an infection when the cartilage broke in the elbow, he says. Didn't have a great ranking at that time, and I was on the challenger level, but I was on my way up, and losing all those points, I had to go back to the satellites, almost gave it up.
Kansas 0, 15 left.
Grew up playing soccer. He likes basketball. And he says that fishing is a cool sport.
Opportunistic so far, Pavel. Mixing up some serving volleys.
30 left.
Getting in, finishing, gets in there quickly. Got Roddick guessing. Roddick making way too many unforced errors, as you saw by our last graphic, 10-3.
30 left.
There you have to a little more of a safe forehand. Roddick trying to hit a clean winner up the line from way behind the baseline.
Roddick giving vent to his frustrations as Pavel has got 3 game points now to go 5-3.
One of the things that the crowd loves about Roddick, though, isn't it, Cliff?
Yeah.
Shows you how he feels out there.
Yeah, they're pulling for Roddick.
Down to Kansas.
Point here from Roddick. Takes a bit of a better swing at the forehand, gets under the ball more, and then flattens out the backhand going behind Pavel. Sometimes Roddick has a tendency to try to hit it a little too flat from too far behind the baseline on the forehand. There's a lot of times it works.
Pavel.
Tonight on ESPN at 8 p.m. Eastern Time, NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series heads to the short track at Indianapolis Raceway Park. Jerry Punch, Phil Parsons, Amy East, and Ray Dunlop on ESPN, the exclusive home of the NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series. That's 8 p.m. Eastern on ESPN. Had it set up. Had it in his sights.
Okay, 15.
Pavel really handling the pace, though, from Roddick off the ground very well so far.
15-all. 3-5. First set. Roddick serving into the sun.
15-all.
Fifth ace for Roddick. Look at that, though. That's 10 of 12 points when the balls come back. Got 10 of 13, no?
30-15. Caron to Kansas, 40-15.
Game points here for Roddick.
Roddick.
So Roddick holds on easily, 5-4. Andrei Pavel, the Romanian, will serve for the first set when we come back. Welcome back, everybody. Live coverage of the first set. Andy Roddick off court. Bathroom is red and white Nebraska. Huskers rather wallpaper, and he's the youngest of 3 brothers. Let's talk about him a little bit. The reason that he's a Nebraska fan, he actually left Nebraska when he was 5 years old. He went to Austin, Texas for a few years and then ended up in Boca Raton because his brother John was the one who was supposed to be the great tennis player. But I said to him earlier this week, I said, well, how come you stay with the Cornhuskers? I mean, the Longhorns from Austin. If you're not a Longhorn fan, what did you do? He said, we hated them. And so they have stayed there. And he said, when I have kids, they will be Cornhuskers fans.
They will, huh? If he stays in Florida. What about the University of Florida? They got Florida State. Big football traditions in college now. Ooh, called out. That ball looked good.
0 pens. Love 15.
And Pavel thought it was good.
Yeah, his older brother John was an excellent junior and college player, and it's a big factor. You can see that ball up. Could have been just wide. Very tight there. So that really helped Andy spur him on as a kid, playing against his older brother.
Assistant tennis coach, University of Georgia now.
And part 2.
When Andy eventually lost in at the Ericsson Open in Miami, that's where he went. Visit his older brother, Athens. 15 all. Foot fault.
Good break for Roddick there. He had missed that return.
A foot fault and a call on the first point that Pavel thought went against him. At 15:30, serving for the set. This is a huge point.
Change up there from Roddick. Will slice back in there.
Bands count. 15-40.
Roddick with 2 break points.
Oui, Tandra, au téléphone portable. Please switch off those telephones. Thank you.
Telephone portable. Portable telephones. Break points. That's on the line.
Oh, great feel there from Pavel. He snuck in. I think Roddick just saw it at the last second. He played a decent shot, but what a dropper. Just inside the sideline.
Still break point for Roddick. Into the sun.
Replay the point.
They're going to replay the point at return. Let's listen.
Well, Pavel's complaining because he got a break there. That ball was inside the line.
Yeah.
Is that a replay?
Yeah. She called it too quick. That's why she missed it.
Yeah, you got to replay.
Trying to count. 30-40.
It's a bad break for Roddick.
Okay, I can get the clear ones.
Andy.
Yeah, look at that ball. It was way inside the line. Pavel's complaining. Maybe he's complaining about that first call. That ball wasn't even close. What a huge return from Roddick.
Ump has no alternative other than to play 2. How big has this game been? And Roddick he's really hot. And he is the one who was badly done by in that last point, if not the first one. Certainly that last one where he hit a great return and would have in all probability certainly been in control of the point. Deuce.
Close call there, I think, on that second serve from Pavel.
He's trading well with the heavy ground strokes of Roddick, isn't he, Patrick? I mean, he seems to be able to run them down. He's not intimidated by Roddick's ground game, at least.
Well, he handles pace well, Pavel.
Set point, Pavel, now. That will sail, and the first set goes to Andrei Pavel of Romania in a surprise over Andy Roddick. Roddick not seeded, of course, but they had a couple of great wins already over Kirtan yesterday and Moya the day before. Set one to Pavel. At the Atlanta Tennis Challenge, Andy Roddick was pretty much invincible against Malaysia in the final. Look at that.
Look at this. And then look at this. And how about this?
He beaten Todd Martin and Meligeni and Stefan Kubek along the way, getting to the final.
And there it is.
Andy Roddick with his first ATP Tour win, but he didn't leave it there. As it was the very next week, wasn't it, that they moved on to Houston?
That's right.
There he took out Slater again, Gustafsson, Kubek again, and then Golmar before this one in the final with Lee.
Young Taek Lee is break point in the first set. Roddick wins it there.
Well,
and then looking for the second straight win. Roddick back-to-back, 2 straight titles on the dirt.
Well, he just overpowered. Wins it in straight sets.
Oh, what a couple months can make.
27 and 35 on the 2 ranking lists, and now Pavel at 15. Roddick serving 15 all, first game, second set.
Dan's part 2, 15 all.
Well, Roddick, Cliff, started to find his range a little bit more, getting under the ball. I see how he whipped under that one, a little more safety.
Pavel playing Davis Cup for Romania, and against the Germans he beat Kiefer first day and lost to Haas. 30-15.
On to Gans, 30-15.
A lot of help from the net there for Andy.
Pavel's played in a lot of big matches. He's beaten Agassi before. He beat Agassi last year in Stuttgart, I believe, indoors.
Left, Premier Service.
So he's certainly not intimidated by the power of Roddick. Roddick's going to have to use his head a little bit more in this second set.
Bronze part 2, 30 all. Down to Trump, 40-30.
Good cutoff as Roddick holds on and wins the first game of the second. We'll be at the Tennis Masters Series Cincinnati on Wednesday, and our ESPN and ESPN2 shows will be interactive specials. Featured will be ESPN.com poll questions that you can send in, and you can direct them to either us in the booth or to the players. We'll have a live chat round table from the player lounge with various players. Mal Washington will be around, so will Luke Jensen, asking fans around the stadium if you happen to be lucky enough to be in Cincinnati. Our show's on Wednesday, August the 8th, that is, 1 to 3 Eastern on ESPN, and then in the evening, 8 to 10, ESPN2.
Did that last year. It really worked out well. People get to send some questions directly to us, Cliff, for the players.
Cyril can.
Start, of course, our coverage right away on Monday in Cincinnati. Another great Tennis Masters Series event. Expecting that Pete Sampras will be there. Pulled out this week with a groin injury, I believe it was.
Oh, that's a great shot, out of reach. That Becker-like dive there from Roddick, he's done that before. You hold your breath when he does this, Captain, don't you?
Yeah, that's for sure. I certainly do. Scraping at this one, we saw him take the fall earlier in the week. A great little half volley, a little volley there, drop volley from Pavel, and Roddick playing with abandon.
That Becker-like dive. Boris Becker, by the way, will be playing doubles with Goran Ivanisevic next week in Cincinnati.
Just getting ready for the senior tour. Boris.
That is just long. Very good point.
The harder Roddick hits it,
30-50.
seems the better Pavel plays. Here's where Roddick went down on that previous point. Very quick for a big guy. She took that terrible fall at Roland Garros at the French Open, Cliff, that knocked him out of the match against Leighton Hewitt.
$30-15.
Look at that, Pavel, 9 of 10 at the net. Picked his spots beautifully.
Caron to Cairns, 40-50.
Give me something.
I mean, he's very frustrated right now, Andy Roddick. Trying to find a solution to what you just said, Patrick, and that is it seems that the harder he hits the ball, the better Pavel plays.
And the solution would be, Cliff, for him is to take a little more time, not hit the ball so hard, hit a little more spin. Pavel's in such a great rhythm. He tried it, Roddick, on that backhand there. Flicked under the ball a little bit more, but Pavel just stepped in and cracked that backhand.
Pavel's still not going for the lines or anything like that, as you pointed out earlier, which I think is absolutely true, and that is that he's just going for pretty much a high percentage play, for the most part down the middle. It's not very risky, and it kind of transfers the authority to your opponent if you can get away with it.
Well, that was a big stat there. Only 2 winners for Roddick on the forehand and 11 unforced errors.
Kansas early, 15-9.
In some ways, though, Cliff, it's similar to a type of match that a Pete Sampras can play, because even if Pete is struggling on his ground strokes and making a lot of errors with that serve, he's always in the match. going to have to count on that big serve to keep him in it, because Pavel is on fire right now. Look at this runner.
15 all.
Just inside the line. In fact, on the line. Good stab there from Roddick. He was on top of the net. Pavel able to get it past him.
That's a great shot. Yeah, he finally says, I hit a winner.
After all his first errors, he's used to hitting a lot more than just 3.
30-15.
Misses it again.
On to part 2. 30 all.
Impatient there.
Yep, completely. Trying to finish the point
30 all.
before it was really set up for him. Measured that backhand nicely. Good solid serve. Didn't go for the ace. Right into the body.
40-30. Egalite, deuce.
Pavel has been so smart too, Cliff. He senses that Roddick is continuing to make errors on that forehand, takes a little pace off it, keeps it low. Down the middle. Right at him. It's nice to have this much power. You can go right at your opponent. Pavel ran right into this one. Game point for Roddick.
So Roddick leads 2 games to 1 on serve in the second set. First set to Pavel. This is the city of Montreal, the French-speaking city, number 2 in the world. Live in Montreal. Welcome back, everyone. Cliff Drysdale, Patrick McEnroe alongside. This is Andy Roddick and Andrei Pavel. 6-4 first set to Pavel. 1 break second set. Roddick leading 2 games to 1 on serve. Pavel serving. Pavel here with his wife and little daughter Caroline Akina. He says my dog was a bit jealous at first because now she's not the only one we love, but now the dog and the kid, they get along so good they started eating cookies together.
Uh-oh. Sure they're not dog biscuits. First time Roddick's looked to attack that second serve and get to net.
You're watching live coverage from Montreal of the Tennis Masters Series Montreal, everyone. Again, Andy Roddick and Andrei Pavel. Roddick, the man who was taking out the #1 seed yesterday, and before that he beat Carlos Moya. He's an 18-year-old from the USA, 27-year-old Andrei Pavel. That will sail Andrei Pavel from Romania, Romanian Davis Cup player. He too has had a very good tournament so far. He took out Hisham Arazi, who had beaten Leighton Hewitt here in the second round. Also beat Francisco Clavet.
missed it.
Down to nets. 40-15.
Good play, actually,
Yep.
I thought.
Had this easy volley there. Right down the middle, no angle for Pavel. Didn't quite stick it enough. Dropped the head of the racket.
Carroll control. 40-30.
I like that chip and charge play there from Roddick, because we've been talking about it, Patrick. When he stays back, Pavel does not appear to be intimidated by the power of his ground game. So a little change up, I think, is a good idea. Still here, game point for Pavel.
Pavel.
At 3 p.m. today and Saturday on ESPN, coverage continuing. The 101 first U.S. women's amateur golf. Some of golf's greatest women players in this tournament, of course, have gone on to successful pro careers. 3 p.m. Eastern today and tomorrow on ESPN. For more on this, please log on to ESPN.com. That's the 101st U.S. women's amateur.
Left. Second service.
That is for good. Excellent drop volley there. Pavel checking the mark again.
Hands is 15 left.
And now I'm beginning to believe that this is part of Roddick's arsenal, Patrick. I mean, I'm just learning about his game, this boy. And I must say that early in the week when he hit a few of those, I said, now I wonder if that's a fluke or that's for real. But
Done it pretty consistently. Pavel just eating up the pace. You can grunt louder.
Hands part 2. 15-0.
Pavel just unloading. Great depth on that forehand. Runs around it. Gives Roddick a taste of his own medicine with that inside-out forehand.
great serve.
Ace number 7.
Drawn to cans. 30-50.
Winner of this takes on Haas, Tommy Haas, or Arnaud Clément, the Frenchman.
The big serves from Roddick.
Carroll to cans. 40-50. Roddick.
Making that game look relatively easy. Roddick, when he gets his first serve in, he is very much in control of the points. 3-2. That's long from Roddick, and it's Pavel serving 2-3. He trails, but he won the first set 6-4. We're in the second set now.
Part 2, 15-0.
This is the first men's singles quarterfinal match of the day. Tommy Haas and Arnaud Clément will follow this one on center court, and then tonight Patrick Rafter and Juan Carlos Ferrero. That'll be our feature match on ESPN2 at midnight Eastern time, and following that match, Fabrice Santoro, Bodan Ulirak. 15-all.
Pavel continuing to be opportunistic with that first serve. He doesn't have the big heater. He's mixed it up well. He's placed it very well. Incredibly, Cliff, he's won 68% of the points on his second serve, Pavel. Usually anything above 50% is pretty good. Points won on second serve. It shows you how well he's hitting the ball off the ground.
It's repetitious, Patrick. I know for those people who are watching Roddick here for the first time. The point that you made 2 days ago about Roddick's game and how he was pretty much a defensive player at the start of his career is important to remember. And really to repeat, as Pavel leads now 40-30.
40-30.
His coach in the red cap, Tariq Nabila, is a Frenchman who was a very solid player in his day. He's right about the same age that I am, mid-30s now. Reached as high as, I believe, 20 in the world. And drops in. A good backhand returns from Roddick. Pumping his fist. The first real error of judgment that Pavel's made all day. Actually a fairly easy volley there. Let it go and it landed well in.
See if Roddick can capitalize. Deuce.
Bad error there from Roddick. Second serve. He's tried to push it, try to guide it in.
Just missed. Game point.
Let Premier service.
And Pavel holds on. Even in the second set for your piece. First set for Pavel 6-4.
Roddick always able to mix up his serves well. Continuing to do that today against Pavel. The deuce court, 5 out wide, 8 up the middle. That's the big heater generally. The ad court, 3 up the middle, 4 out wide. Still, though, the numbers are pretty low for Roddick. When first serve in, Cliff, he's winning just 69% of those points. That's very good. Usually Roddick's around 90%. 15 love. Starting to find the range more often on that first serve, though. That's ace number 8. Big backhand up the line again from Pavel. Boy, does he hit that well. So clean. That ball had a lot of action on it, a lot of spin, a lot of pace.
Down to Kevin. 40-50.
First serve percentage, Patrick, or is it 61, let's say, for the match?
That's pretty good for Roddick. What I was saying is that the percentage of points won when he gets the first serve in is lower than normal for Roddick. And that's just really a testament to how well Pavel's returned and played and kept the ball and kept Roddick out there having to hit a lot of ground strokes. Like there.
Down to Tron.
Getting the ball back in play, and Roddick has made 24 unforced errors now.
Second set, Pavel will serve, and we come back to our live coverage from Montreal.
Tonight here in Montreal, it is going to be two of the quickest players in the tour. Patrick Rafter, Australia, and Ferrero of Spain, playing for a place in the last 4 of this championship. Tennis Masters Series, Montreal. Rafter, the serve and volley of Ferreira, the clay courter who can play on a hard court. Patrick Rafter, Wimbledon finalist this year for the 2nd straight year. Tonight, Rafter, Ferreira, midnight Eastern time. That's 9 out on the West Coast. And now Washington, Luke Jensen will be calling that match for you on ESPN 2. Pavel serving, trailing 3-4 second set. You like Rafter in that match tonight?
I do,
The
yes.
fact that Ferreira took out
Fans is
a good player in the last round.
Jan Michael Gamble, that's right. No, I like Rafter in that one. Pavel again with that beautiful early preparation right through the ball in the backhand. Having to work awfully hard.
Fans part 2, 15
Pavel handling everything the youngster throws at him.
Takes a lot to get the respect of Patrick McEnroe, my friends. I mean, Ferrero semi-finalist at the French Championships. He's won 4 tournaments on clay this year already.
What are you talking about? Would you ask me who I'm picking?
I know.
Got nothing but respect for Ferrero. He's rough. And he can play on hard courts, as you said. But after right now, if the best in the world on the surface, top 3. Maybe top 2 along with Agassi.
15-30.
That is wide, and 15-30. A chance here will be a small one for Roddick, with Pavel serving into the sun.
Roddick working the point a little bit better these last 2. More spin on that forehand. Pavel doesn't like the ball up high as much, Cliff.
Ooh, played well. Neither one of these two have had a break point in the 2nd set.
Pavel has played such a smart match. He's really played for him a perfect match. Serving and volleying at the right times. Into the body there, mixing it up. Really has not allowed Roddick to get into any sort of rhythm.
30-all.
Problem for Pavel is that one little slip up. This match is into a 3rd set.
An open court volley there for Roddick. Just was not quite up to it, would have given him a break point. Game point here for Pavel to level the 2nd set.
Coach continuing to urge him on as Roddick played a perfect point there, set it up.
Messi.
Dumped the volley.
S'il vous plaît, Messi.
Good smart approach there, Cliff, because that's typically a tough shot to make, especially for a youngster. Egalite, deuce, of course. Egg.
Egalite, deuce.
Smart serve from Pavel, swinging it out wide.
Pavel.
Pete Sampras, clean, crisp, cross-court passing shot win.
What athleticism from Roddick on this one. Pavel played another perfect point, and look at Roddick on the dead run, the angle with the pace. Phenomenal runner.
Good comeback there from Pavel, and he has a game point again.
Avantage, Pavel.
Pavel says, all right, I'll try to get the crowd into it on my side. His fourth ace there.
Game to Pavel, and it is even at 4 apiece in the second.
4 games on.
We're live at Jarry Park in Montreal, everyone. The Expos used to play here. I guess that was a long time ago now. Then they moved to the Olympic Park here in Montreal. But this is the shell of an old baseball stadium, and I will hand it to these tennis authorities here. They've built a fabulous arena here for tennis that switches between men one summer and then women the next summer. Record crowds. They're going to get over 170,000 this week.
So, okay, it's love 15.
Well, you asked a question a little earlier, Cliff, about Roddick's ability around the net. Been a little suspect these last couple of games. A little loose backhand volleys.
And it's part 2, 15.
Roddick, top junior in the world by a long way last year. Nobody even remembers that now, because this kid is in the big leagues.
Pavel, you can see him moving around. He knows this is his opportunity. Just get the ball back in play and see if the youngster will give him a couple of freebies. He's given him 2 so far.
Pavel's calling for the towel that was way at the other end of the court.
He's taking his time, making him wait. Playing this just like an experienced veteran.
Whoa, and that serve. Like the serve of an experienced veteran.
Think about some other #1 juniors that have had huge careers and some that, well, haven't.
There's an excellent volley from Roddick, and he has a game point here.
Pavel scrambling again to get the ball back in play right here. This time Roddick handles it. Game point.
Egalite, deuce.
You hit it.
Talk about the big serve from Andy Roddick. Andre Pavel is so far back when he's returned to serve. Look at him back there. Now he'll move back as well. Look at him. By the time he hits the ball, he's on the
Left.
That deuce now let him first serve.
Roddick thought it was a clean ace. Didn't hear the let call.
See how much room Pavel is giving him on the serve.
The exact same serve and just missed it. It's a smart play by Pavel. Make the youngster think.
A lot of help from the net for Pavel there on the return.
Avantage, Pavel.
Great point. Calling for the towel, Pavel again. So he ambles all the way to the side and break point.
Smart serve by Roddick there. Didn't expect to see that from the youngster. You thought he'd just reach back and try to blow one past Pavel. Kick out wide. Back to deuce.
A good approach there. Pavel just keeping the pressure on Roddick. Now he's come up with a big forehand pass, as you remember, just a few points ago, but that time he wasn't up to it, and Pavel's got a second break point.
Pavel continuing to slow Roddick down, taking his time, going to the towel. Youngsters up there just can't wait to serve.
He really lost his rhythm, didn't he?
He got it
in his head, huh? Ace number 10.
He's complaining about the call and
second serve, yeah.
And he's got fans that agree with him.
Right on the line.
Steve Rollrick in the chair and not having any of it.
So right on.
He saw it right on the line.
He's definitely not going to overrule. That's good. Very close, but nevertheless not an overrulable call. Game point Roddick. Being smart about positioning himself on the return to serve there, sometimes in, sometimes back, but it didn't work as Roddick, albeit down a couple of break points, holds on serve in the second. Welcome to Montreal, everyone. You're watching live coverage here of the Tennis Masters Series Montreal. It's the first men's singles quarterfinal of the day. It's Andy Roddick of the USA, who's had a sterling tournament so far this week against Andrei Pavel, who's played equally well. It's 6-4 first set to Pavel. We're in the second set, 5-4. Roddick leads on serve. This is Pavel serving. Roddick struggled in his last serve game, but he held on, and they had words apparently with each other at the changeover, as Pavel was saying to Roddick, "You're drinking my drink." And Roddick said to him, "Hey, we are drinking the same stuff."
Yeah, love 15.
And
Don't touch my bottle. Well, that's my bottle.
Anyway, then apparently Steve Ulrich got in the middle of it and said, "Isn't you both drinking the same thing?"
Mine has more electrolytes than yours.
Gans part 2, 15-0.
15-0. Tough for a kid to break in just psychologically for the older guys on the tour. Oh, that's a great play again from Pavel. As you said earlier, he's played this thing about perfectly strategically. Patrick, I agree with that. That's a good move at a really important time, 30-15.
I think back on the return. Pavel snuck it out wide, got in quickly. See where Roddick stands now to receive this serve. Will he stand inside the baseline? Yep. And Pavel. So strong.
Caron to Cairns. 40-50.
Roddick down at his feet. The youngster's been shaky around the net today.
Game points for Pavel. From Montreal, everyone, welcome. Men's quarterfinal, the first of the day. Andy Roddick, and I'm Andrei Pavel of Romania, who as a kid moved to Germany and then finally to Monte Carlo, like so many of the guys who make a lot of money do. He won the first set, did Andrei Pavel, against Andy Roddick. Now in the second set, we've had a couple of close calls. Both players have, but it is on serve, 5 apiece, second set. No breaks in the second set yet, only one in the first. Roddick.
So, okay, that's 15.
Patrick, there is an excitement about the way that Roddick plays, no matter who he's playing against, no matter where. Sort of a little Agassi-like. There's a charisma about him.
You even see it out on the practice court when he's warming up. You know, the people come out there to watch him. I don't think they're coming out to watch me hit. I'm pretty sure they're not. I knew you were going to say something, so I had to get it in there before you jumped all over.
You know, yesterday after our match was over, they had another men's singles match, and just about everybody had left the stadium.
I saw a great show with Roddick and Kirtan.
I sure did. 15 all. And it's not just the fact that he is a story and that he's a youngster beating the top players in the world. It's more than that. His game is really electrifying. There is hardly a defensive bone in his body, and it may be something that he's going to need to work on. All.
Good look at that return, hit it cleanly, just overhit it. Pavel's really been the guy, Cliff, that's had more opportunities in the second set. Not many, but he's had a couple of break points. He's had a couple of more sniffs to break.
Roddick hits two, well, one not huge serve, but one very good serve, and then another one that really was huge. Roddick jogs to the sideline, and Pavel will follow him with Roddick leading 6-5. The worst that can happen to Roddick is a tiebreak in the second now. Roddick leading 6-5 in the second set. Pavel serving to try to get into a tiebreak. Yes, here he's serving into the sun. It's 6-4 first set to Pavel. Only one break in this match so far. But it has been a beauty. 27-year-old Romanian taking out Hisham Arazi, who beat Leighton Hewitt earlier in the tournament. Before that, Pavel took out Francisco Clavet, and don't forget in the first round he beat Xavier Malisse. An outstanding tournament for Pavel so far. And if you've been watching this match from the start, you can see why he would be so successful, because he's played flawless, brilliant tennis. Andy Roddick, on the other hand, took out Gustavo Kirtan. He took out Carlos Moya, and before that, Lee.
Error from Roddick. That forehand has been spraying all over the place today. Just a run down for Pavel in the early rounds. Malisse had a good week last week in LA. Clavet's always tough to beat, and then Arazi, who taken out Hewitt, just pounded him yesterday.
Pavel.
A bit of a lunge at that one, half-heartedly from Roddick, who just realized that the tiebreak is what's going to decide the second set, and that's where we're at. First to 7 with a 2-point lead wins the tiebreak, and with it the set.
See they play.
Remember the tiebreak they played in Miami, Patrick?
1-0.
12-10. Yeah,
went on
first set.
forever. Oh,
Roddick went on to win that match in straight sets against Pavel.
good memory.
It's the little things, Cliff.
Oh, that's a good run there. Pavel hit that one. He knew the minute that he'd hit it, he had overhit it because it presented a good, easy passing shot opportunity for Roddick, and he was well up to it.
The first real mistake that Pavel has made. He played the point perfectly, but he didn't do enough with this. Let Roddick get a look at it. And Roddick get a good long look at it. 2-zip now for the American. Good return from Roddick. Fought off a good first serve.
3-0, Roddick.
Pavel finally sprays a forehand. You know, that's usually the side, Cliff, that will break down from Pavel, that forehand side, but he's been solid on it today. Certainly have to think that Pavel realizes that this is his opportunity to close it out, because I think he even realized that if it gets to a third, you have to think that Roddick's game will start to wear him down. Pavel has had very little margin for error in this match. And a couple of unforced errors now after an hour and a half, and Roddick with a 4-love lead.
And that solidifies the lead.
Sang serve. 5-0, Roddick.
Serving at 5, Love down in the tiebreak.
Change ends, and Pavel will be happier up here with the sun behind him.
5-1, Roddick.
But in all probability, too little too late.
Dropper there. The eye dropper, Cliff.
I wondered when we were going to get that one.
He's there. And so's Roddick. Set points for Roddick.
That eye dropper was more like a plunger.
Seaster,
But the great reaction
Roddick.
from Roddick gets him out of trouble. Set points.
Call a fault. It's not set yet, folks. Don't go away. It looked like it was a line ball to me, and Roddick certainly fell
That's the
for it.
fastest serve you've hit. I can't tell. No. I'm saying I'm not sure. I'm saying I can't change it. I'm not sure for me.
It'll be a second serve after all is said and done.
That was 136, that serve.
Here's an update on what has happened so far between these two outstanding competitors. A look at Andy Roddick there. This is the first set. Here is a chance for his opponent, Andrei Pavel, the Romanian. And Roddick Roddick not happy with the result of this point as he is broken for the first and only time in the match. And that was a big difference in the set, Patrick.
And Pavel taking his opportunity, serving and volleying, mixing it up, playing perfect strategic tennis. He wins the first set 6-4. Go to the second set. Roddick going all out as he always does. Look at the scramble for this one. Great touch by Pavel. Throws himself at it.
Both giving it absolutely everything here. They stayed on serve until the tie break. There were no breaks in the second set. Only one break for the match, in fact. A hustle there.
How about this for set point here? The tie break in the second set. Set point for Roddick.
And this crowd is alive, folks. Third set coming up now.
Fault on the second serve on Pavel there.
That's, I think, his fourth good fault of the match.
It's 4 break points against him. Roddick, an ace. Forehand error that lost him his serve, service winner, and another ace.
This year already, one in Atlanta on clay, American clay, and then also in Houston, the USTA Clay Court Championships. This is a Tennis Masters Series event. There are 9 of them leading to the world, what used to be called the World Championship, now the Tennis Masters Cup. This is one of them. This is a major.
Love 30. Serve again from Pavel, but Roddick played an outstanding point. Love 15 point, Cliff. I think that's a smarter way to play against Pavel for Roddick. Loop the ball a little more, play with a little more spin. Give Pavel all that pace.
Excellent serve there by Pavel down the line.
30 up.
Break.
Control of the point with the forehand there.
30-40.
Patrick, you and I watched this man Roddick play in Houston together. I know you were in Atlanta watching him as well, because he will be, I'm sure, so much a mainstay of your Davis Cup team. But you never really know whether the guy has truly arrived until he is in the big leagues and makes his move there. And this is the big leagues.
Break point, deuce.
So great scrambling from Roddick to make Pavel hit that overhead on break point. So what you love about Roddick, his ability, of course, to blow you away and hit the winners, but his commitment to fighting and to playing defense when he has to.
Roddick with a tremendous win yesterday over the top seed, Gustavo Kirten. Before that, Carlos Moya, former world's #1. Young Taek Lee of Korea before that.
Coach urging him on here. A huge game. It's opening game in the third set. Pavel throwing everything at Roddick in this game. Roddick continuing to put the pressure. Look at that good preparation, the quick feet. Deuce again.
Break point for Roddick.
Avantage, Roddick.
Very patient. That point from Roddick. Had 3 break points and has not broken yet.
Lent. Premier service.
Pavel taking advantage of a fairly tame return from Roddick. Quickly moving in after the second shot and knocking off the volley. And a good look at the second serve on break point too, Roddick. Didn't do enough with the return on those couple of opportunities, and Pavel holds on.
1 game to love.
First game,
Pavel in the
final
third on serve as Roddick wins the second.
Pretty good day for the A-Rods yesterday, huh, Cliff? Kier 10 going down to the tennis version, and
Beat the Yankees. No.
both beat number ones.
Your
Number
team,
one.
the Yankees.
The second best record in baseball. They are the world champs.
I'm not talking about whether the world champions. I'm talking about they're your favorite team. That's
Yes,
the
they
main
are.
thing. Guys in the truck bellowing in my ear about number 1. Anyway, the A-Rod, the tennis A-Rod. I'm going to say it again. I know I said it before. They say, what's the difference between you guy? And he said $262 million. But as you pointed out yesterday, he's going to close that gap.
Close that fairly soon.
Dean Love.
Who's your favorite baseball team?
I like the Rangers.
What state are they in again?
I was a Texas boy for a long time. You know, Austin was home for me for a long time. In fact, it was for Roddick as well for a few years.
I thought you'd be a Braves fan. All those people from Carolinas follow the Braves. Roddick pulling up a little bit. Maybe hurting his right leg slightly there. Pavel again with the beautiful touch.
Trump to Cans. 30-15.
Like, watch how Roddick pulls up here. Look like his left knee or quad, maybe. It's never a dull moment when this kid's on the court.
Garon to Cans.
40-15.
Enjeu part 2, 1 game on.
Enjeu part 2. You know, an Englishman speaks French, and it doesn't, I don't think, sounds at all interesting, but you have a Frenchman speak English, and it's magnificent. By the way, talking about the language thing, you know, it's well documented about this Quebec wanting to be free and all that stuff, but the French are very, very warm and welcoming here in Montreal. It's a beautiful, beautiful city. One apiece.
Kansas 0, 15-9. Wait, please.
Andrei Pavel last year at the Tennis Masters Series in Hamburg got to the semi-finals, losing to Gustavo Kuerten. And in St. Pölten the following week, got to the final and beat Andrew Ely in the final.
Tron to Ken.
Also a trade win. This year has been a little more spotty for Pavel. Pavel also, remember last year at the US Open, took out Jerome Golmar and lost to Arnaud Clément. Hard courts, of course.
Caron to Ken.
Also mentioned that Andrei Pavel at the end of last year in the Stuttgart indoor got to the quarterfinals. A very solid year for him all around. He beat Patrick Rafter there and Andre Agassi.
I tell you, he's always a tough guy, Cliff. He's a tough guy to beat. You're seeing why today. He's smart. Doesn't have any real weaknesses. Can come in, can serve volley a little bit, can play big off the ground.
He's in front against Andy Roddick of the USA. The 18-year-old is Andrei Pavel. He leads 2-1 on serve. 2000 Stuttgart. Andrei Pavel taking on Andre Agassi here. This was the round of 16 match, and he beat him. He'd beaten Patrick Rafter in the round before that, as we just mentioned. There's Agassi in the distance. Pavel closest to you. The Eurocard Open. He beaten Gaston Gaudio in the first round, had Pavel. That was a tough one in 3 sets, but against Rafter was a straight setter. And here against Agassi won the first set 6-3. Action here from the second.
You've seen that backhand up the line a few times before, right? Against Roddick today. And here's some good scrambling from Pavel. Well, there it is again. Took out Agassi in straight sets that day. With great serving there. Remember that from Pavel as well.
6-3, 6-4. And then he lost to Wayne Ferreira, who went on to win the tournament.
That's right.
2-1 Pavel. Guys, I got to tell you that during every commercial break, Patrick gets over there and he opens his lungs and he's trying to call Tariq Benavides, who is Andy Roddick's coach. He cannot get his attention.
And Spartan, 15.
I'm trying to get him to give me a drink, you know? Not doing anything more than that. It's getting him pumped up out there. Stadium. We're way high up here.
Strong to 30-50.
Another packed house. Good serve out wide, and Roddick going behind Pavel. 30-15.
We're going to stay with this match until its conclusion today, everyone, on ESPN.
Women's amateur golf, which was due to start at 3 o'clock, will, but you can see that on ESPN2, and we'll stay there on ESPN2 until this is finished, and then come back to ESPN coverage of golf.
Pavel continuing to scramble.
Game point.
To Roddick.
And ace for Roddick, and it's even at 2 games all.
12th ace for Roddick. A lot of pressure on Pavel in Pavel's opening service game of this set at 2 break points.
Topspin lob is long. Oh, just long.
Chances are 15.
Those that you think is going to go wild, and then it barely goes long. Again, the U.S. Women's Amateur Golf at 3 p.m. ESPN 2.
Control to 0. 30 left.
Pavel's done that quite a few times today, Cliff. If Roddick doesn't hit the return that deep, immediately takes that first ball, goes behind Roddick and gets to net.
Carroll to 0. 40 left.
Which is a good play, isn't it?
It's a good play, especially against someone as big as Roddick, and takes away a little time for the big guy.
Had a lot of time for that one.
Yeah, that's what he does have time, and it also takes away the rhythm.
Once
Once Roddick gets into a groove from the ground strokes, he does outplay Pavel.
Game point.
Left. Bremerson.
The ground stroke winners by Roddick, 9 forehand, 7, but it's the unforced errors on the forehand, 19. It's Pavel again. Beautifully done again by the Romanian.
Good hands at the net from Pavel as he holds on. 3 games to 2 he leads. This is for a place in the final 4 of this year's Tennis Masters Series, Montreal. We're live in Montreal on Serve in the Third. On Serve in the Third here, quarterfinal of the men's singles, Andy Roddick taking on Andrei Pavel. 3-2. And now love 15 as Roddick is serving to try to get even here in the 3rd set. It's a set apiece.
Wow, that he bricked that volley there.
U.S. Women's Amateur Golf coverage has started over on ESPN 2, folks. And as soon as this match is over, we'll switch from ESPN 2 to ESPN 1 with coverage of the 101st U.S. Women's Amateur Golf Championship.
Look out now, Roddick at love 30. Pavel chipping and charging. I'm sure he'll try to do that again if he gets the opportunity. Oh, the double fall. A loose game from Roddick, starting with missing that easy backhand volley. Faced 4 break points today. Has Roddick's been broken once, only in the 2nd game of the match.
3 in a row here.
From Pavel, and Andy Roddick throws his racket up in disgust. 4-2 as he gets broken for the 2nd time only in the match. 3-2 first set with the first break.
against his serve, and that is all that Pavel needed. Now, Pavel has not been broken yet in the match. Roddick's had 4 chances to break, but has not broken yet. So that is good news for USA's 18-year-old Andy Roddick.
How big was that opening game of this set? Roddick disgusted. And Pavel keeping those points quick there and had the opportunity to come in. He did. First game in the set, Roddick had 2 break points. Pavel held steady, though. He is not affected at all by the power of Roddick. It's such a smart match.
The textbook player too. Yeah, I mean, the backhand, and you said that the forehand can be a little shaky sometimes from Pavel, but he's a good volleyer as well, isn't he?
And he's got very good technique on all his shots.
I'm looking at the ball toss and his serve, for example, and I mean, you cannot fault it.
Of course, that always happens. Third double.
I think if I said that again, he'd serve another double. 15 all. Threw that one right into Roddick, and Pavel apologizing to him. But there was not much that Roddick could do here, was there?
No, it was actually the best shot he could hit there, really. Pavel goes back and does a smart thing right at his opponent.
30-15.
Again, Pavel quickly getting to net in that point, Cliff, not letting Roddick get set up, taking away his time.
He's played a very good strategic match, and he continues to. And time now is really running out for Roddick. It's 40-15, game points for 5-2. And I think the side has got a lot to do with it. Andy Roddick has one last gasp left, and it'll be a good one with Pavel serving into the sun. But Pavel hasn't been broken yet. 5-2 is what the score is as they change ends. Let me tell you, this is live coverage of the Tennis Masters Series. Andre Pavel and Andy Roddick, USA. Welcome back to our live coverage here, everyone. It is 5-2. Andre Pavel leading in the third set. Roddick serving 15-love in this game.
12-0. 30-love.
U.S. Women's Amateur Golf underway on ESPN2 this afternoon. And as soon as this match is over, we'll switch from ESPN2 coverage to where you are right now on ESPN. Cliff Drysdale here, Patrick McEnroe alongside. 30-love.
Strong to Canes. 30-15.
42 unforced errors now, and I think at least 20 on the forehand side.
Down to Canes. 40-15.
Edmonds out of reach, and now Andy Roddick with his last chance. 5-3. Pavel serving. Pavel 4 points away from beating Andy Roddick, who has been the story. Not a seeded player in the championship, but certainly the story of it, having beaten Gustavo Kitt in the top seed yesterday, and before that, Carlos Moya the day before.
Had 2 chances in the first set, 2 in the opening game in the third. No conversions. Pavel did that earlier. Remember, Cliff, when he saw Roddick moving back. That time Roddick was ready for it. Ripped the return down low.
This is an enormous point.
flat from the circle.
That's a game effort there from Roddick. I think he's got to try to, I mean, nerves are not a part of his arsenal. Watch this.
Pavel with the big backhand up the line. A good stretch there from Roddick, but Pavel measured it, took his time, knew he had the opening, cracked it up the line. He has been intense throughout this match today, Pavel.
$15 all.
That is a great overhead and an outstanding point by the 18-year-old teenager from Boca Raton. 15-30.
Some players, Cliff, just have the innate ability to seem to turn it on when they need it. And so far, that's what Roddick's done in this game, and he needs 2 more to get the break back.
That is a very mature point, I think. Second serve, 15-30. Sun in Pavel's eyes.
Well, maybe nerves can creep in.
Seemed like he was trying to guide that one. 30 all. That was such an important gift from Roddick.
Leighton Hewitt command from Pavel, and he's got a match point.
Single play. Single play.
The crowd give these two a standing ovation, and Patrick, no 2 players have deserved it more than these two this whole tournament.
Well, you can see the excitement from Pavel because he knows how big a win that was for him. I mean, let's face it, Roddick's on his way to the top or close to the top pretty quickly, and Pavel had to play a perfect match, and that's what he did to beat the youngster today.
Andrei Pavel over Andy Roddick. Pavel in the semifinals in 3 sets, 6-3 in the third. Back in a minute. Andrei Pavel 6-3 in the third set over Andy Roddick, who has been the superstar of this championship so far. Andy, tough luck today. You've had a couple, 3 great wins in the tournament so far. Did you learn something today?
Yeah, I mean, I just was fighting and battling the whole time. I didn't really feel on top of my game, but he was playing great, so all the credit to him.
What do you look for now, Andy, for the rest of the summer? I mean, it's been a good week here. You had a lot of unforced errors. We're just showing today, right now, 43 unforced. Did you feel like you were rushing a little bit too much, especially on the forehand?
I'm not sure. Usually, I can crack my forehand from any spot, and today I was just struggling with it. I'm not sure, what the deal is, but that's the way tennis goes, and I'm looking forward to the rest of the summer.
He's got a tough serve to break. You just were not able to do it. You had 4 break points, but couldn't convert, Andy.
Yeah, that was the biggest thing. I mean, I had chances. I felt like I was in most of his service games, and I just didn't get a break. I mean, you're not going to win matches if you don't break serve.
It looked like you started to dictate play a little bit at the end of the second set, and then you had some chances early in the third set in his opening service game. How big, in retrospect, was that first game when you didn't break him?
Obviously huge. I mean, that's a different story from up a break in the third.
It looks now like you've got a very good chance of being seeded at the U.S. Open. Andy, is it too soon to be talking about your chances there?
Much too soon. I mean, I have to be able to put together, you know, a whole week, much like, you know, in 2 weeks at the Slams. So I'm just going to keep plugging away, and we'll see what happens.
Andy, congratulations on an outstanding week. Sorry about today's result, but you certainly have been the man of the championship with your win yesterday over Gustavo Kuerten, and before that over Carlos Moya.
Thanks.
Andy Roddick of the USA, just a teenager, getting all the way to the quarterfinals here and showing that he has got the game. We'll be back with more live coverage from Montreal. Andrei Pavel of Romania over Andy Roddick 6-3 in the third set, and it was a magnificent effort. It's been a great tournament for you so far. Congratulations to you. What made the difference between this effort and the last time you played him at the Ericsson, Andrei?
I think I was a little bit more relaxed, and last time I had a lot of my mind. A lot of people told me how to play him because I never saw him before. Everybody told me that he's got a huge serve, but from the baseline he's sometimes missing a lot because he's trying too much. And last time at the Lipton, I was trying to put the ball in the court, and that's not my game. My game is to get back into court and put pressure on the other. And this is what I tried today. I mean, I got a lot of confidence beating Clavet, which is not giving you any free point, and then a huge win against Arazi, 0-2. So it's got to do a lot with confidence, and I was pretty much relaxed. I enjoyed this tournament. I'm with my family here, and this is beautiful. And I mean, to get to the semi-final for my second time in the career to Super 9 is beautiful, and especially now before the US Open.
Andre, it seemed like you had a great game plan, as you said, playing consistent from the back of the court, but also you mixed in a lot of serve and volley. You tried to take the time away from Roddick a little bit, and you never really allowed him to get into a rhythm.
Yes, that's true. But this has got to do a little bit. I was also nervous sometimes from the baseline to play with him, because I knew he can come out with a huge shot. So I said to myself, okay, go for it. And I got good volleys, and I'm nothing to be afraid of. So I'm feeling also very, very comfortable at the net. So that's why I attack him a lot.
Andre, he's got a good future there, doesn't he?
Oh yeah, I mean, with this such a huge serve, I mean, he's serving, you got to return his serve from 235, 220, everything is over 200 the first serve, and he's got a huge percentage too. So you really got to play perfect on your serve, because from the baseline he's got such a big forehand. With the backhand he's not missing much. He's putting it on the court, and I mean, the only thing maybe he can improve is at the net a lot, but otherwise he's such a complete player. And I'm saying it, with this weapon serve on hard courts and fast surface, is very difficult to beat him.
Andre, thanks a lot for your insights, and also congratulations today on a great effort over Andy Roddick. Andrei Pavel is in the semi-finals of this great championship, and there's his draw, Patrick.
Certainly got an opportunity there. Haas and Clement will be battling, and then you have to like Ferrero in the bottom section of the draw to come through. He's looking very, very tough so far here in Montreal.
Please join us at midnight tonight on ESPN2 for more Tennis Masters Series Montreal. It'll be the quarterfinals between Patrick Rafter and Juan Carlos Ferrero of Spain. Tomorrow we'll be back at 1 p.m. Eastern Time on ESPN with semi-final action. Thanks for joining us, everyone. For Patrick McEnroe, I'm Cliff Drysdale. This has been a presentation of ESPN, worldwide leader in sports. For more, log on to ESPN.com. Coming up next here on ESPN, U.S. Women's Amateur Golf. A big surprise, Andrei Pavel today over Andy Roddick in 3. Goodbye from Montreal.
Loads off.